You've been weeping in secret, haven't you? Not just from the pain of their absence, but from the emptiness their silence carved inside you. The kind of ache that no distraction can quiet, no apology can fix, and no explanation has ever satisfied. They left you questioning your worth, wondering if you were too much or not enough, replaying every word, every glance, every decision, trying to trace the exact moment they began to drift, and still the answer never comes. But I see what your eyes try to hide behind the smile you show others. Jesus, see the nights you've collapsed on the floor whispering, "Why did they stop loving me?" I hear the thoughts that spiral through your heart when the world grows quiet and your soul begins to scream. You're not just grieving their departure. You're mourning the dream you built around them, the future you saw so clearly that vanished without explanation, the parts of yourself you gave without condition, thinking love would protect you from being left behind. And now, you carry that heartbreak like a shadow, feeling foolish for still missing them while trying to convince yourself you're over it. But let me say this gently. It was never your fault that they didn't know how to hold you. It was never your failure that they couldn't recognize your value. The truth is, they didn't leave because you were unworthy. They left because they weren't ready for someone who loves as deeply as you do, someone who could see through their walls and love them anyway. They mistook your devotion for weakness, your loyalty for naivety, your open heart for something to run from instead of something to run toward. And though you keep telling yourself to move on, part of you still waits, still hopes for a message, a sign, a moment where they wake up and realize what they lost. But what if I told you that while you've been crying over them, I've been preparing someone who will never make you feel like you have to beg to be seen? Someone who will recognize your spirit before they fall for your smile. Someone who will cherish your vulnerability instead of exploiting it. Someone who won't flinch when you reveal your scars, but will hold your hand through the healing. I'm not just sending another person. I'm sending restoration in human form. I'm sending a soul who will pray over you when you're weary, cover you when you're exposed, stand with you in the storms instead of watching from a distance. This person will not ghost you when things get deep. They will not make you question if you're hard to love. They will not weaponize your softness or mock your faith. They will understand that you are not too emotional. You are empathetic. You are not too intense. You are passionate. You are not too much. You are everything they've prayed for. And you may not see it yet, but I have been rerouting your steps not to punish you, but to protect you from settling for less than what I've destined for your life. That pain you felt wasn't rejection, it was redirection. That heartbreak wasn't your ending. It was the beginning of your resurrection. Because I'm not just healing your heart, I'm refining your spirit. I'm preparing you for a love that mirrors the way I love you. Patiently, consistently, without fear of departure. You've been loyal to people who only came to teach you your own strength. And now that you've learned it, I am bringing someone who will match your soul, not drain it. But you must let go of what was never yours to keep. You must stop reading the old chapter, hoping it will rewrite itself. You must release the ghost of what could have been so you can embrace the promise of what's coming. You think it's taking too long, but I'm not delaying. I'm developing. I'm aligning. I'm orchestrating something so divine that if I told you now, you'd think it was a dream. But this love will be real, and it will find you when you least expect it, on a day that feels ordinary, in a moment that feels random, through a connection that feels like home. And when it does, you will weep again, but not from sorrow, from awe, because you will finally understand why I allowed them to walk away. Because if they hadn't left, you wouldn't have made space for the one I've chosen, the one who will stay, the one who will remind you that your tears were never wasted. They were seeds, and the harvest is on its way. And while you continue to carry the weight of what they did not say, the apology they never gave, the closure you never received, I, Jesus, have never stopped listening to what your spirit has been silently screaming through every unspoken prayer and every suppressed tear. Because what you thought was silence from heaven was actually the sound of me working behind the scenes, orchestrating a healing so sacred it required isolation, preparing a breakthrough so personal it demanded stillness. And I know you keep checking your phone, your dreams, your memories, hoping for a sign, a flicker of remorse, something to validate the depth of what you lost. But I'm here to remind you that what they took was nothing compared to what I am about to restore, and I know that right now. You don't see it. Right now, all you see is the ghost of them in places where you once felt safe, the echo of their name in conversations you replay by yourself, wondering if you were just a placeholder, a chapter they skimmed through while searching for something else. But, beloved, the truth is far deeper, far more spiritual, because this wasn't just a breakup. It was a spiritual separation, a divine detachment from someone who could not walk with you into your next assignment. And I let them go not to break you, but to protect you from someone who was never going to grow, someone who had access to your heart, but refused the responsibility that came with it, someone who liked being loved by you, but wasn't ready to love you in return, not the way I designed you to be loved, because your love is holy, your love is healing, your love is legacy, and I could not allow it to be poured into someone who only saw it as temporary shelter while they refused to confront their storms. And though it hurt, though it broke you, though you begged me in prayer to bring them back, I did not answer the way you wanted, not because I didn't care, but because I care too much. And if only you could see what I have seen, if only you could hear the conversations they had about you when they thought you weren't listening, if only you knew the moments they chose comfort over commitment, distraction over depth, ego over effort, then you would stop questioning why it ended and start praising that it did. Because while you saw potential, I saw patterns, patterns of avoidance, patterns of inconsistency, patterns of spiritual immaturity that would have drained you dry had I not intervened. And while they were making temporary decisions, I was preparing eternal rewards. And no, the one I am sending won't be perfect, but they will be present, and they won't just desire you. They will honor you, not for your looks, not for what you can give them, but for who you are at your core, because what I am sending is not a partner, but a covering, a co-laborer, a divine counterpart who will not be intimidated by your calling, your anointing, your depth, or your fire. And while they may not come when you expect, they will come when you are ready, because I have been using this wilderness season to detox your heart from the lies you believed, to purge the attachments that were built on brokenness, to remind you that your worth was never dependent on who stayed or who left. And even now, I'm bringing restoration to every part of you that was shattered, even the parts you didn't show to anyone else, the parts that still ache when a certain song plays, when a memory resurfaces when you scroll past something that reminds you of them and wonder if they've truly forgotten. And let me assure you, they haven't. Not in the way you think, because their spirit remembers, even if their pride doesn't allow their mouth to speak it. But that is no longer your burden to carry, because I am lifting it off of you now and replacing it with peace, real peace, the kind that doesn't depend on circumstances, the kind that wraps around you like a promise kept, the kind that prepares you for something greater than what you lost, because what is coming is not a replacement. It is a reward, and they will not come to test your faith. They will come as the answer to it. And their love will be consistent, not confusing, warm, not wavering. And they will pray over you the way you used to pray for them. They will fight for you in the spirit the way you were left to fight alone. They will see you, hear you, hold space for you in a way that reminds you why the others had to leave. And yes, your story will still carry the sting of what you survived, but the ending will redeem it all. And what was once a painful memory will become your most powerful testimony. Because when others look at you, they will not see a person who was abandoned. They will see a vessel who was protected, not rejected, a light that was preserved, not discarded. And you will look back and thank me, not just for what I gave you, but for what I refused to let stay. Because I didn't just remove them. I released you, I rescued you, and now I'm restoring you. And the love that's coming, it won't make you doubt. It won't leave you guessing. It won't come and go with the wind. It will stay. It will build. It will lead you closer to me. And when it arrives, you'll know it's from heaven. Not because it's perfect, but because for the first time, your soul will finally feel like it's home. The spirit world often moves in ways that our earthly eyes cannot perceive, and there are souls who linger between realms, not because they are lost, but because they have urgent messages that must cross over to the living before they can find their rest. And one such soul, burdened by regret, has been reaching out to you in ways you may have overlooked, unheard whispers in the quiet moments, shadows crossing your vision, a sudden coldness in a warm room, or dreams so vivid they feel more like visitations. And though you may dismiss these signs as coincidence or imagination, I, Jesus, reveal to you now that this presence is a soul desperate to break free from chains of guilt and remorse, desperate to convey truths they left unsaid and to ask for forgiveness before it is too late. Because regret is a powerful force. It traps spirits in a liminal space where time bends and the weight of missed opportunities presses heavy on their heart. And this soul has carried the burden of what they never expressed to you, what they never made right. And every moment they are trapped in the afterlife, they are tormented by the consequences of silence and avoidance. The harsh words never softened, the love never fully expressed, the apologies never offered, and they have watched from the unseen as your life unfolded with pain, confusion, and unanswered questions, aching to ease the weight they unintentionally placed upon you, but not knowing how to bridge the divide between worlds. And now, through divine intervention, these spirits are being given one last chance to communicate, to offer clarity, to set things right so that both of your souls may find peace. And you might not realize it yet, but the heaviness you feel in your heart, the inexplicable sorrow that sometimes wells up inside you without reason, is connected to this spiritual urgency, a connection that transcends physical absence and touches the very core of your being. For relationships are not severed by death. They are transformed. And though their physical presence has faded, their spiritual essence remains, longing to be heard and acknowledged, to be forgiven and forgiven them in turn, to be released from the shackles of regret that bind them to this realm, and to restore harmony between your spirits. And I am here to tell you that this is a sacred moment, an invitation to open your heart fully, to listen beyond the noise of your daily life, to embrace the messages that come through in dreams, signs, and sudden thoughts, because they carry wisdom that will guide you through your current struggles, warnings that will protect you from unseen dangers, and blessings that will unlock new paths you never imagined possible. And as you attune yourself to these spiritual communications, you will begin to notice patterns, repeated numbers, songs that remind you of them, smells that fill a room unexpectedly, feelings of warmth or chills that run down your spine. And all these are ways your departed loved. One is trying to bridge the gap, to remind you that though their time on earth ended prematurely or without closure, their love and concern for you never ceased. And they want you to know that despite their regrets, they are at peace now. But peace only comes when forgiveness is granted, when wounds are healed, and when burdens are shared. And this exchange between realms is not only for their release, but for your healing as well. Because carrying the weight of unresolved emotions can leave you stuck in cycles of pain and confusion, blocking the blessings that are waiting to flow into your life. And I urge you to open yourself to the possibility of reconciliation, to pray for their spirit and for your own heart, to seek comfort in knowing that true forgiveness transcends human understanding and is a gift you give yourself as much as it is a release for others. And as you step into this space of divine grace, you will find a new freedom, a lifting of heaviness that has lingered longer than you realized, and suddenly, doors you thought were closed will begin to open. Miracles you didn't expect will start to unfold, and your life will begin to move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and hope. And know that this process is sacred and personal, and it may take time, but you are never alone, because I am walking with you through every tear, every prayer, every silent longing. And I am the bridge that connects the seen and unseen, the living and the departed. And I promise that as you listen and respond to these spiritual messages, as you surrender to the healing they bring, you'll be prepared for the next chapter of your life. A chapter where the pain of the past is transformed into the power of testimony, where your scars become the source of your strength, and where your journey of faith is illuminated by the presence of those who have gone before, cheering you on from the other side. And so, dear one, be alert, be open, be ready, because the message you have been waiting for is already on its way, carried by a spirit who once left with regrets, but now returns with urgency, love, and a plea for you to embrace the healing only true forgiveness can bring. There is a sacred urgency that pulses through the unseen realms, an energy of a soul trapped between worlds by the weight of regret and unfinished business. And this soul, restless and burdened, reaches out now with a desperate plea that cannot be ignored, for what they have left unsaid echoes louder than words ever could. And their spirit, though departed from the physical plane, lingers close to you, watching, yearning, hoping for a moment of connection that will release them from their spiritual chains. And I, Jesus, want you to know that this is no ordinary visitation, but a divine message meant to stir your heart and awaken your faith, because sometimes the most powerful prayers come not from the living alone, but from those who have crossed over, who carry wisdom born of hindsight and the clarity that only death can bring. And as they struggle with the burden of regret, they seek forgiveness reconciliation, and above all, the peace that comes when their message is heard and understood. So listen closely to the signs around you, the sudden chills, the fleeting shadows, the whispers in your dreams, the songs that randomly play when you least expect them. All these are spiritual breadcrumbs left by this soul trying to break through the veil, trying to communicate something urgent that has the power to transform your life and set their spirit free. And while it may feel unsettling to confront these ethereal experiences, remember that I am with you, the comforter and guide, and I walk alongside you to interpret and transform these spiritual messages into healing and hope. And you must not ignore the call, because the message they bear is not just about them. It is about you, your healing, your future, and the divine purpose that waits on the other side of this spiritual exchange. For this regret is tied to choices, actions, or words left unresolved that have created a barrier not just for their peace, but for your progress and peace as well. And through the forgiveness you release, whether spoken aloud or whispered in prayer, you dismantle the chains of pain and open a pathway for blessings to flow abundantly into your life. And this is why I urge you to be brave, to face the emotions stirred by these spiritual encounters, to embrace the vulnerability required to heal wounds long ignored, and to understand that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself as much as it is a release for the other. Because when you choose to forgive, you break free from the prison of bitterness. You clear space in your heart for joy and love, and you align yourself with the divine will that always desires your wholeness and happiness. And in this process, miraculous doors will open, doors you never knew existed, leading you to new relationships, opportunities, and a peace so profound that it silences the ghosts of the past. And as you journey through this sacred transformation, know that you are never alone, that I am here with you, holding your hand through every tear and every breakthrough, and that the soul who died with regret is waiting to find rest, but only after their message is heard and their spirit is set free by the power of your love and forgiveness. And this is the urgent call you cannot ignore, for within it lies the key to your healing, your freedom, and the restoration of peace between the realms. And when you answer this call fully and with an open heart, you will be amazed at how the impossible becomes possible, how darkness turns to light, how brokenness is made whole, and how the love that transcends death breathes new life into your soul, giving you the strength to step boldly into the future I have prepared for you, a future free from the chains of regret, filled with hope, purpose, and the promise that no matter what has been lost, something greater is on its way to replace it, a love that will never leave, a joy that will never fade, and a peace that will last forever.